The Torah very much believes that we as individuals can stop the proliferation of murder within our society. The Torah has a claim on us and commands us to use our every sense, look carefully around us, and move beyond interpreting this verse. Do not stand idly by the blood of your brother or your sister or your neighbor, as speaking only about our brother or our sister, literally, or the neighbor who lives next door. The Torah says, look out upon society and understand what it means to lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. Do not stand idly by the blood of fellow human beings. What a towering responsibility. What an incredible opportunity, though, to assert in the positive that we value life, that no one should spill anyone's blood, that murder and killing have to stop and violent crime must cease. The outcry for such a stance, let alone crying out about those particular issues, seems so essential in our time, seems so necessary in New York City, seems so much part of the value system that needs to be uplifted within a nation where so many murders happen each day. It's not about one particular mode or method. It's not about only the guns. It's not about the domestic violence. It's not about the abuse of power. It's about the foundational value system that seems to be chipped away, if not jackhammered, in a society that is letting go of religious affiliation and essential Torah values. My take is that these discussions happen less often and in news-oriented or media contexts on social media with very few words and very extremist quips. There's a nuanced discussion to have about which institutions and codes of law are the ones we should be standing up to respect. Which approaches to criminal justice are the ones that truly hold violent offenders and murderers accountable for their crimes? How do we deal with the problems of murder and killing within and amidst communities that need a smichat geula, a flowering of redemption, and an attachment to the core values of the Jewish tradition, and that is chai behem, to life, and ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha, want for your neighbor, for our neighbors, the goodness that we want for ourselves. In Parshat, in order to achieve and fulfill the vision of the good life and a life without bloodshed, God tells Moses to teach the Jewish people, Et mishpatai ta'asu ve'et chukotai tishmaru. You should have very real rules and systems and statutes and hold people accountable when they transgress. This way, you can fulfill the vision of what it says in Parshat Kedoshim in chapter 19 of Leviticus, Lo ta'amod al dam re'echa. You will not stand idly by the blood of your fellows. Your brothers, your sisters, your neighbors, literally and more broadly. will be served by your attachment to devising the right rules and regulations and systems that hold people accountable for their individual actions, for their crimes, for murder, and for violent crimes against other human beings. We shall not stand idly by anyone's blood, and all our blood is red. We're not talking about creating too litigious a society, and we're not talking about a society without the possibility for legal reforms done right. We're talking about respecting the institutions of law, the shoftim v'shotrim, the judges and the officers who tried to create a society of peace. We're talking about empowering individual citizens while holding accountable those who transgress. In our time, we are challenged to figure out how we'll teach these core and essential values of the Jewish tradition. Chai behem, life, wanting goodness for our neighbors. Ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. That same word reacha, that same word neighbor, is the one used in this commandment. Lo ta'amod al dam reacha. Don't stand idly by the blood of your neighbors. We pray for a day when there will be less killings and murder in societies that consider themselves advanced and have made progress. We pray for the day when there will be teachers of those values who can impact every person and every people and every culture, all whose blood runs red. We pray for a time when verses like the one in Leviticus 19, do not stand idly by the blood of your brothers and your sisters. We pray for a time when that verse will be a call to action, when individuals will extend their hands and reach out. As Rashi said, when you see a fellow, tovea benahar, when you see a fellow drowning in a river, and imagine that river is not just the water, but people are bustling and moving in the bustling cities and among us and in our neighborhoods and all around us. And there's the potential that they just might be attacked or killed, that we must respect the institutions of the law and the rules by which we adjudicate matters and hold murderers and violent criminals accountable. This, with the proper ideals activated and new visions of how we get to this affirmation of life and seeking goodness and holiness for each other. That is the Torah's challenge to us. As we read Parshat Acharei Mot Kedoshim, as we read these two essential Torah portions together in this season of the Sphira, between Passover and Shavuot, we were freed in order to create the kind of society we imagine. And we'll move towards Shavuot, we'll go to get our Torah and renew our relationship to the rules and the statutes and the systems and the idea of accountability and the great visions that life is holy. And we want that sense of goodness and peace for everyone whose blood runs red. Shabbat Shalom.